Working on the back brakes now. This is the connector for the brake reservoir is up here. That holds the brake fluid. And this fitting goes in here and then pops into the actual piston, whatever you call it, assembly. The brake, it's all awful gooey in here. I think this one's going to be in a lot worse shape. I imagine I'm going to have to remove the reservoir and the piston, master cylinder, and clean out all the crap in there, and then try to bleed them. Okay, I got the rear master cylinder off. Just as I suspected, it's all turned to powder, all the fluid or whatever's in the fluid. This is going to need a totally take it apart and rebuild it, get things moving if they're not destroyed. And I'm going to start taking this apart, seeing what I can do. Here are the parts. I actually got all that stuff out of there. I didn't think I was going to be able to. I thought it was too oxidized and rusted and everything. The bore actually looks pretty good. You can't see it with the light here, but the bore is actually pretty smooth. The piston was all, this is an aluminum or pot metal, whatever you call that, white metal. And it's pretty screwed up. This thing's not focusing right. Oh well. So, managed to get that apart. Very painstaking process. Trying not to destroy things. Here's the seal, the main seal for the piston, and then there's another seal that goes on the other side of that tube. There's the return spring. My C-clip was messed up, and I don't have another one. I gotta try to find one. I found one here, but I don't think it's big enough. My C-clip broke. All right, I'm gonna try to get this put back together. Okay, I got the brakes all taken care of. Had to remove, well, most of the rear at all. I mean, I had to remove the pump or the master cylinder, the reservoir. Had to replace this hose here. You saw the you saw the condition of this. That was in pretty bad shape, but it actually cleaned up well enough to put back together. The piston, the rubber cup, the seal, both seals were in actually pretty good shape. The bore was in pretty good shape. I just sprayed everything down with water in a bottle just to clean everything up, because I probably got brake fluid on painted surfaces or whatever. Just thought I'd clean up a little bit. At the front brakes were actually pretty easy. They were just had to bleed those. Nothing was leaking, or they were working, but I wanted to put new brake fluid in. Oh yeah, and I also what else did I do? I changed the intake filter on the pump, the air pump for the suspension. There's a filter inside here. Replace that. That was a piece of foam. It was just all rotted. It was all disintegrated. That's it down there. Here's a desiccant filter to keep the moisture out of the system. You take this apart, undo it here, take it apart, push this down, and remove a small circlip, pull it out. It's kind of difficult to get out, but there's grains of silica that they're kind of hard. They turn pink when they're used up, when they've absorbed all the moisture, and then you can bake them in a microwave and they turn blue, and you cook all the moisture out of them. As far as I understand, that's how it works. So I did that. Oh yeah, the computer for the suspension wasn't plugged in. I plugged it in and then it was flashing errors, error 4, error 1, a bunch of errors, and there was no response from the pushing the buttons. But I got that working. I had to remove this from the panel. Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on. It was working. Hold on here. Oh yeah, that's right. You can only do this on accessory. So that comes on. It's got a backlight. These switches, the pads on the back of this, there's a white, kind of a clear membrane rubber with the pads for the buttons on a board. There's two circuit boards inside this. I had to remove this out of the cover from the back side, and then you take that apart, and there was a connector board. Well, I'm not going to take it apart, but there was a connector board in there that had some loose solder joints. I think the vibrations kind of wiggle them and they crack. So I had to resolder those. Also cleaned up the display from the inside. Tried to clean it up a little bit. It looks like it's working. It might have a slow leak, when you pump up the suspension, but all in all, it's working pretty good. A lot of spider nests in here. Lots of egg sacs with spider nests with egg sacs in them. Oh well, they're going bye-bye. All right, that's how far we are so far.